So in the last 24 hours, the president signed the Electoral Act into law, which is one of the quickest sign or laws in history. Although we can debate it because we don't have facts to that, but it looks like it's the fastest law ever in Nigeria, and that's what people have been saying online. But we don't have any verified record to show that. But these are questions I believe we should ask, and today I just want us to ask those questions real quick, even as we have the discussion. So why was it fast? We can argue because we have an election just this weekend in Abuja, which is one way why we can say it was fast. But the problem there is we have a deficit of public trust. And usually, I know supporters will dismiss this and say, oh, it's why are you doing this? It's just opposition. But the truth is that a lot of people don't understand that democracy thrives on trust. It shapes, the law will shape how elections are conducted. And because we don't have much change with what happened in 2022, the law in 2022, which governed the 2023 elections, it becomes a deficit of public trust. And this is where we need to ask questions, even as supporters of the government. So do I think it's good for the optics? Sincerely, no, because it sends a message that they just had to do something to get it over with. And so is speed good? Yes, because we want to see the effects in the election in Abuja this weekend. So I think though some part of the laws are good, you have the timing and all of that. I think there's going to be a shift because of the Muslim fast, which is understandable. But that should show too that religion also plays a big role in our election. So do we have concerns around transparency? Yes. And as someone that wants to see people have trust in democracy, this becomes a major issue. So we're going to be, this will test public trust. I know I listened to someone say, you want the president to block a loophole that brought him in. That's another way to look at it. So it's and I heard the speech of the president, which makes sense. He spoke about the fact that we are not casting votes electronically and we don't expect to collate electronically, which makes sense. But I think the whole issue here that many supporters are not trying to encourage or talk about is the trust deficit. Why we have this issue is not because Nigerians are tired of the system that way or they're not benefiting from the system. It's just that trust deficit. And that's why the opposition politicians in the Senate, that's why they staged all they did, even with the civil societies and all of that. They wanted to show the masses that they are people who are trustworthy, even though we know they are not. But these are questions that we need to answer. There's a question on if the law was read all through but the president just signed it. That's another good question. But in all of this, I think as citizens we deserve clarity, and that's what I am trying to put out on this channel, where where we have questions, we should be able to answer it. Even as leaders or followers, we should be able to sit down and say, is lawmaking, should it be this fast? Is being fast too bad? Should it be transparent? I think transparency should be there. So elections. I wasn't expecting anything completely different because, there's that loophole. And the problem with loopholes in laws is if they are signed for mandatory transmission, then the next election cycle would either become a battle of laws, which would, again, stretch the judiciary. So this is, a lot of things. But I'm happy for one thing, that the masses are aware this time. You have a lot of civic awareness, and that's it. So I want to be clear again. I'm not opposition politics. I don't even push an anti-government rhetoric. But when there's a deficit in trust, I think we should answer some of these questions so that people will build trust back in the system. Because again, democracy is all we have. Though we have questions, I know my generation will have questions on, is democracy the best way? for leadership. But for those who have witnessed the military rule, I'm sure many of them don't want us to go back to it. So this is all we have for now. And there you go. So these are questions I just had through the day, and I felt we should ask, and the government should try to work on the optics. Recently, some months ago, where the president, approved some money for the ladies that won the African Cup of Nations, and it was quoted in dollars. That was a major problem again, that brought about lack of trust in the things governments are saying. So for the records, I respect leadership, but I will still ask why. And this is why I am Timor Close. See you in the next video.